Clap. All right. Lovely. Are you ready?
Nah.
All right. Here we go.
I'm ready.
Hello, you plonkers, and welcome back to the Drewzy Yarn, episode 11 today. And I've got the best football player in all the lands in my lounge room. I'm actually quite nervous and blushing. A lot of pressure on this one, Gabby.
Where's Ben?
Benny?
I thought you said the best footballer.
Nah, he's nowhere to be seen, mate. I got Gabby O'Sullivan. I labelled you as an AFLW Phenom and Fremantle Dockers superstar. So there you go. That's what you are. How's it going? Welcome to the Drewzy Yarn.
Oh, thanks, Drewzy. I feel very privileged. I don't know if anyone would have been saying that about me in the last couple of years, but getting recognition from my number one fan, so very grateful.
Yes. The Gabby O'Sullivan fan club. Population Drewzy.
Yeah, I did post that, and then I had a couple people inbox, me too. So it's
there
3 people now.
One of the more popular players.
Yeah,
you reckon?
I've been around for a while, so it's about bloody time.
Been around the block, just sitting in the forward pocket, giving off signatures when the ball wasn't coming down your end and whatnot.
Exactly right.
People might be wondering, what is Drewzy doing knocking around with an absolute superstar? So we got a question here from Big E Lodge, and he wants to know how you met Drewzy and what were your first impressions?
Oh, okay. So you've heard this one before, Drewzy. Yeah. I still am a teacher at the school where Drewzy graduated from.
Yes.
When I started, I believe you were in year 12.
Mm-hmm.
Could
around
have,
that end?
Yeah.
Year 11, year 12.
Year 11, year 12. You could have been mistaken for a year 7. I said to, well, okay, long story short, in Drewzy's adulthood, we met as you were you still are a strength conditioning coach.
Yes.
Volunteered your time to help out the state schoolgirls, which I was a coach of.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I asked the football commission, I said, hey, I need a strength and conditioning coach. They said, yep, we got the right guy for you. Andrew Cox, apparently you used to teach him. I'd never heard of this bloke before. And when you texted me to introduce yourself, I was like, apparently I used to teach you. And you go, yeah, I was that real skinny kid.
Yeah.
And when I met you, I was like, oh, that skinny kid.
Yeah.
So I said this to you only now because we've got a good relationship. When I first met you, I thought you were like a recovering cancer patient.
Yeah.
Because you were like eyes in the back, like sunken into your head, paste. You'd never seen a lick of sun, and you'd obviously still stayed in the same uniform that your mum bought you when you were in year 7 because you hadn't grown at all. And I was like, someone give this kid some food.
Yeah.
Someone look after this poor boy.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. Used to kick around the basketball courts.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you could quite make the distance of throwing the ball in the hoop.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think that was the only good skill I had in basketball was 3-point shooting because I couldn't get in there and absorb any contact without getting snapped into 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
But back in those days, I used to eat sausage rolls and pot noodles, and that was about it. Used to go to sleep at about 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up at about 7 for school, and I just hated my life, and that's where we met. But as you were saying, we worked alongside each other professionally at the state schoolgirls side last year. My first S&C gig went up to Dampier, copped a few W's. I don't think we had a goal kicked on us that day.
Nah, not at all. I think it's quite funny because we went up there and obviously it wasn't the proper state trip. Like we weren't playing against Victoria, Adelaide, New South Wales, etc. And it was just like a pride carnival against some of the local women's teams. And the games were going good and I felt bad that was smashing everyone. No one had scored a single point or goal. And then it gets to like the last game and I think they get close to scoring a point and I'm furious. When they score a point, I was like smiling, but I was like, oh, bloody hell. Like,
didn't drill the girls hard enough, eh?
No, not at all. And then I was thinking, who can I blame? And I think you're throwing around magnets, so your name popped to my head.
Yeah.
But nah, they did extremely well, and I was impressed with yourself. Like you wouldn't have known that it was your first gig as an S&C coach, and I think I gave you a bit of responsibility, especially during some training sessions with the warm-ups and rotations inside training, having a strength block or whatnot. So it was great. And I said it, I think in an email weeks later after the carnival, I saw you go from a boy to a man. So
not in the sense of puberty though, as it hasn't hit.
No, it hasn't hit. I think it might be hitting right now.
Yeah, it might be coming soon. Let's see. That was a sick trip though. Like that was one of the highlights of my year last year, going up to Dampier. Obviously we can't travel very far at the moment, or you can because you're an exception because you're an elite athlete.
Exception to the rule, hey?
Yeah. But yeah, we went up to Dampier, stinking hot, got to see some good sights.
Yeah.
And it was just great fun.
And that was like good for me too, because obviously I still had my training program I needed to complete because I was in my pre-season training block and
pre-season.
Yeah, pre-season. The stuff
that's the graft mindset you want.
Yeah, the stuff you don't get paid for. And anyway, I had verbalized the sessions I had to do because you were probably like quizzing me on it. And I think we got to Dampier and you're like, all right, when's the run? You got to go for a run. I'm coming with you for a run. I was like, nah, I'm pretty tired. I'll go tomorrow. And I think I did save it for the next day. And it was bloody hot, but we went and you led the way. I was just planning on like a nice jog. I can't even remember what we had. It was something like...
I think it was like 3 times 8 minutes consecutive running or something like that.
Yeah, and it like, to be honest, that's not too hectic, but I was planning on... Well, it depends how quick you... Well, it depends how quick you want to go, and it did have a quite quick of a pace that it wanted to be, but I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to probably jog it. And you come out and I reckon you set like a 3:30 pace. And I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, why did I say yes to running with this boy? And anyway, you cooked me on the first one. And then I think I had you for the next two.
So I thought if I just got out nice and early, got out in front, I'd have the psychological barrier like, I've had you for breakfast, see you later, elite athlete my ass. And then, I think after about 3-4 minutes, I was just absolutely cooked and you led the way ever since then.
I couldn't let the skinny kid beat me at running.
Yeah, the little World Vision kid.
Yeah.
That was a great trip. We running it back this year. Have you actually heard anything about what's going on?
Well, I think they had a meeting last week and I think, they're not going to have the interstate trip, unfortunately. Like, it's just, if that was to happen, it would have to happen in July and we're February right now. It's just, COVID's too rampant. Can't force kids to get vaxxed and that's what you need to be able to come back over here at least. But I think Dampier might still be a goer because that Pride Carnival is still going to happen. So
that could be fun.
Put your name forward.
Yeah.
Back to back S&C reigning champ.
That'd be good. That'd be good fun. Get DT and the gang back together.
Yeah.
Take Ash Sharp up for a little trip.
Yeah, finally.
Get her away. I saw her a couple of weeks ago at a basketball tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because she fancies a basketball.
Yeah.
I see her every game. She's literally like front row with the baby Spencer and yells out.
Yeah, shout outs to Ash if she's watching.
Sharfie, yeah.
How's she going in terms of getting back into the AFL? Is she just starting out at the Waffle W again?
Yeah, I think she. I asked how she. I FaceTimed her not too long ago actually with Gemma and Michaela Morrison when we were in ISO, but she played in a scratchy, I think, for Swan Districts. And I don't know. I'm going to try and get to the game tomorrow. I don't know if she's playing yet, but she was getting back into it because you can't just obviously jump straight back into it after having a baby.
Yeah, after pregnancy.
But she's the kind of person that will bounce back really quick, I think. And just the type of player she is, like a speedster that's got a booming boot both sides of her body, like
proper athlete.
You don't lose that.
Yeah.
So she just, once she gets fit again, she'll be able to go straight back in, I reckon.
Yeah, that'll be good to see.
Yeah.
How it has obviously, we had a bit of a dream team going on there. Me, you, Ash Sharp, DT, Big Jono.
Yeah.
Helping these girls develop into good footballers. What was it like when you were going through that stage 35 years ago or whatever it was?
35 years ago. Jeez, I'm only 28 this year.
Yeah, okay.
Are you talking about when I was a kid? So
just like the process of going, getting selected into state sides and then progressing as a footballer. How was it then compared to now?
Well, I will talk about it on the sense of basketball because that's what I grew up playing because I've probably told you this story before, but for the Drewzy fans, I played football for Auskick level and then as soon as I hit 12, you were no longer allowed to play if you were a girl. So there were no state teams or anything like that.
Right.
Funnily enough, the guy who I took over head coach for, so Ollie Beath, used to be the state schoolgirls coach for bloody millions of years.
Yeah.
And so when I was 16, he actually asked me to come try out for that state team.
Yeah,
I think it might have been the first year it's been going on. So I'd say state footy for girls has only been going on for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And anyway, you probably wouldn't have had as many girls try out as what we had now. Like I think we had, I can't remember the numbers, but it would have been close to 150 girls trying out. Like we had to have like a northern suburbs tryouts and a southern suburbs tryouts. That's how hectic it was.
Massive.
And yeah, you just didn't have that. You probably like you're getting phone calls to come try out, like beg to try out for a state team. But nowadays it's literally like get rid of some of these girls because there's just too many of them. But it's taken a while to get to that point. And when I was playing basketball, it's the same thing. You literally had 100, 150 girls trying to try out for a state team and months of training and then final cuts. So for these girls, they went through 4 or 5 weeks of tryouts, fitness testings, pretty much what they do in the drafts, skills tests, 2K time trial.
Vertical jump and stuff.
Yeah, vertical jump, agility. Yeah. I couldn't even run 2K straight when I was their age, and these kids are hitting like 8-minute 2Ks. And so that just gives you like an idea of where they're at and how it's grown or
how it's going to progress into the future as well. Yeah, I remember running the warm-up at the tryouts and it felt just like this massive horde. I was like, usually you can just run with a tight group, nice and tight, but yeah, there was plenty of people there. But yeah, that's an interesting point you said about like they're running 8-minute 2Ks and whatnot compared to when you were knocking about playing basketball and whatnot. Like the future of women's football, you can see it even now in the AFLW. It's just getting better and better year on year. And just with the academy processes that there are now, you guys drafted guys like Amy Franklin, Dana East, Mickey Tarks, Morrison. Am I forgetting anyone? Who else have you got this year?
Hang on a minute.
Who have you forgot?
See, this has got me now. Are you talking about
like
just Dockers or?
Yeah.
Tux. By the way, can you say her last name?
Takarena?
Tuhukarana. I've been practicing quite a lot. So we call it Tux. Tux, Easty, Amy. Was J-Lo a part of it? No, she's not young, but J-Lo might have been. No, okay, so 18s. I think that's it.
Yeah, I reckon you've forgotten someone there. Morrison.
Yeah, was she part of that? Michaela Morrison.
Was she drafted this year?
Oh, drafted this year. Sorry, I thought you were talking about like state kids that you used to work with as well.
No.
Yeah, Michaela Morrison was drafted last year, but she had like a real bad appendicitis and couldn't play last year. J-Lo, Amy, Easty, Tux. Did I say Amy already?
Maybe. We've said her about 7 times, but but just the quality that's coming through now, it's not basketballers that want to be footballers or, athletes that are going to give football a crack. It's girls that have been playing football since they were about 12, 13, even Auskick as well. Yeah. They've had all those years of development for the first time in the sport's history. So it's revolutionary, mate. The girls are going to take over one day.
Yeah.
But then obviously at West Coast, I haven't looked over at East too much, but Charlie Thomas, Emily Bennett. Is Emily Bennett?
Yes, she's going to debut.
Courtney Browley, Sarah LeKay, all these that are coming through. It's going to change the sport for the better, mate. And you're going to get kicked out because
that's what I'm so scared of. Like, you either what's that saying? You
adapt
either
or evolve.
Adapt, evolve, or bloody die. No, but when, like you say, like when I was drafted, I was a rookie, so they technically got me from basketball, even though they really got me from East Fremantle. There was like myself, Ebony, Stacey Barr, Taryn Priestley, all basketballers, 4 or 5 netballers. Then we got a tennis player in, soccer players. So you didn't have any genuine footballers, and I think Sarah Very is the first one that's kind of done it from Auskick all the way through.
Okay.
And she's only in her second year.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you how new, or not how new, but how these young kids are changing the game.
How did you play footy growing up then? Like, because you have great skills compared to a lot of the other girls. Like when I watch you, you have a real good footy IQ. You know how to sort of, be in the right spots and just you're a good kick of the footy. How did you develop that through your years of being a teenager and whatnot, even though you couldn't actually play?
It was weird because I always thought, like, no matter what, like my whole life, I always thought of myself as a good footy player because there was no female comp to like, judge myself against. But I did play, like, as a kid, like I said, when it's your functional motor skills are developing. So I always had a bit of a knack for it then as a kid. And I never really put down the footy, through my teenage years. Like I did play a couple of school games here and there, probably not enough to, like, consider myself a great footballer like I did. But just enough to still have touch. And then, I don't know, I guess like when you get into the AFL system, you're training, 3 times a week with a footy, and then you're kicking the footy outside of footy training, and you're doing all these things. So I look back to my first year compared to now, and I've gone up leaps and bounds, footy skill wise, just for purely touching the ball heaps more. But basketball is a good, I guess, transition sport. So like, when I first came in, I mean, I struggled with a lot of things, but ground balls were one that I struggled with because the basketball bounces straight back up to you. But game sense, agility, speed, they're all transferable. And I watched a shitload of footy growing up.
Big Ben Cousins fan,
big
as we were
Benny
saying.
Cousins. Still have
where does that addiction come from, or obsession, whatever you want to call it? It's pretty close.
So like, and you know what it's like, footy in WA. Like, I grew up an Eagles supporter because my nana got me onto the Eagles.
I'm going to have to cut that out, otherwise you're going to get cancelled.
No. Like, literally everyone at Freo knows. Like, I think they know that I'm not going to jump ship now. Like, if I was going to jump ship, it would have been when they first started. So we're all sweet, unless they want to trade me. But my nana signed me up as a junior member when I was like 4.
Okay.
And so, like, obviously being an impressionable kid, and I was playing footy, I might have even worn, I don't want to say it, but I might have even worn the number 9 when I was a kid, but I don't actually remember. And going to like junior clinics, obviously Ben had to be my favourite player, like the best midfielder in the comp. And then obviously when he got older, he got into some trouble, so I kind of like backed off with my obsession of him. But then when he came back into the limelight, I was like, I still bloody love you.
I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you. I miss you, Ben. No, but
is he still your wallpaper on your phone?
Yeah, I can confirm.
How's a Freo player having a West Coast player as their wallpaper? I'm not happy with that. I reckon you need to have, I don't know, any Freo players that you admire? Or have you never had love
I've got
for
a
the
few
Freo
favourites. I got a few favourites just purely from knowing them a bit more now and watching them play. But I love the way Lachie Schultz plays.
Yes.
Like, he's such a little pocket rocket and little nugget. And I'm kind of like a similar nuggetsy player. Sonny Walters, because he's a good bloke. Everyone has to love Fifey. Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw, like all absolute legends and great footy players. But
before the pandemic and whatnot, how much were you interacting with the boys' side of the club?
It was kind of hard because they would have their schedule like of morning to Arvo, and then we would cross over if you got to training early. Yeah, okay. Or incidentally on the weekends at the club if we were in the gym, or vice versa. They were in the gym or we're on the track. So you'd see them a little bit, not heaps. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying before we were live, it's a shame because you're one club and there's the boys team and the girls team, and it makes you stronger to have that kind of relationship between both teams. And I know it's for the safety of them and us that we don't cross over. Yeah. But it is a shame because you get to talk to them about our games coming up, how they're going, etc., and get to know them off the footy field a bit better. So it was a little bit, but not a heap.
The break in the podcast this week is brought to you by absolutely nobody. But next week we actually do have a sponsor. So happy days, you've got a sponsor for the podcast. Get in there. The Drewzy Yarn is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you could go on to whatever platform you're listening on and leave a 5-star rating and a review, it helps out with the algorithm on those platforms. Leave a like and drop a comment if you're on YouTube, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Since we're on the topic of Freo, let's keep talking about Freo. I think it's fair to say, obviously it hasn't happened yet, but your squad is in a premiership window at the moment. In 2020, you went undefeated before everyone's best mate COVID come in and scrapped that season. Some of the happier days of your life, you were telling me before.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So yeah, what was that like, 2020? You've put in all this work, and what were you like, 7-0, 8-0 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 7. Oh, I actually can't remember. It might have even been as many as 9. No, it couldn't have been 9.
Undefeated.
Undefeated. And that's all that matters. But it was tough. Like, I had just rocked up at the beach to do recovery because we had played the day before against the Gold Coast, absolutely gave them a flogging in the first final. So I was like, yep, I'll do all the right things. Off to the beach now, do some recovery, do some stretching so I can be fresh for a week of training, and then whoever we play on the following weekend.
Yeah.
But I knew there was going to be a press conference, and I was like, oh, it'll just be that, like, it'll be, like, no crowds again and something like that. But then there was whispers, nah, they're going to call this thing off. And I was like, so I just felt super anxious. And then as soon as I got to the beach, Gil came over the radio and he was like, the 2020 AFL men's comp has been put to a halt and the women's has been, like, canned. And I was like, why the hell am I at the beach doing this recovery now? And I was just so mad.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to you before, you don't just do the work in pre-season and then in season when you're playing your games. Like it's been building since the start, since 2017.
Since the last season ends, really.
Well, exactly, and it's something that you're always thinking about it every single day. Your choices you make every single day is all for the upcoming season and all for your betterment of your footy. And the fact that had to end with no winner, it was not like we weren't good enough. It was just this bloody COVID has cut it short. So, and I know there were so many other girls in the same boat that were just mad about it and upset. And who's to say we could have won the grand final, but definitely were the strongest team of the year. And it's just disappointing that we didn't get the chance to actually have that opportunity to play in a premiership. You know?
For sure. But that's still coming. And I have faith. As a Fremantle Dockers supporter, I've really got into the girls this year as well. Just since, like, knowing you and the girls that are getting drafted, I'm like, why would I not watch this?
Yeah,
this is sick.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, being a Dockers supporter, the girls are playing well. I'm off and on. Let's go. I've been watching it heaps. And you are in a premiership window. You're playing good footy at the moment. Last year, though, you were real hot. Like, you were looking real good in parts. You were undefeated for a lot of that season as well, right?
Yeah,
for like the first 6 or 7 rounds?
Yeah, I think we won the first 4 matches, I want to say, maybe 5. And that year was a funny year. Like last year we played as if we had a premiership hangover, but without the premiership. So it was funny in that COVID was still in the air and we were supposedly going to go to a hub in Adelaide for 3 weeks and then it was going to be 4 weeks and then we went to Adelaide, ended up being 5 days. Came back, absolutely cooked and lost, I think, against Brisbane that following weekend. And then it just kind of all spiraled from there. And I think that first quarter of the season, people probably – we weren't playing the best footy, but people probably were still judging us on our form from the previous year. So that's probably the mental edge. That probably gave us the mental edge for those kind of games. But yeah, it was a disappointing year, and it didn't have the same feel to the previous year. Yeah.
What does that feel like, the team chemistry when it's going right? What's it like, just being on the same page as everyone compared to when it starts, like the wheels start to fall off, sort of thing? What's like the mood around the camp?
It's hard to describe, but. And I've had this same feeling with my basketball team when we won like a state basketball championship. And yeah, like everyone knows what they should be doing. Everyone like wants the best for one another. Like it's super competitive. But you know, if say Eastie has 20 possessions and 10 tackles in a game, you know, Turbo, myself and Hayley are like, yep, good on ya. We might have had 5 touches, whatever. Like everyone wants the best for one another. The girls that aren't playing are knocking on the door, but they're also just as supportive.
Yeah. No egos involved at all.
Well, no, not at all. And that's the most surprising thing. Like you would think there would be egos or little undertones of people being a bit salty they're not playing, but it's not like that at all. And when you're playing, you just know like it's not an arrogant mentality, but you know whatever happens, you're still gonna win.
Yeah, okay.
Like they might have a bit of a momentum swing, but we've got this.
Yeah,
and it's really great. But if you don't got this, it's not great because like you're still waiting to see like waiting for something to happen. So like I think it happened against Bulldogs where we were like, oh, we've got this still. And they were like, oh, shit, we actually might not have this, hey?
Yeah.
And you've got to put your foot on the pedal. But you just know, like, every single person's got your back and no matter what happens, you're going to perform.
Yeah.
So it feels great.
What's it like out there when the momentum does swing and, like, things aren't going your way? How do you guys sort of communicate out there and whatnot to get the game back on your terms?
Yeah, it's hard because... those momentum swings, especially in AFLW, can have such a dramatic impact on the game. Like, if it happens for a whole quarter and the other team, say, kicks even just one goal, like, that's enough to win a footy game sometimes.
Yeah.
Or that's all you need, like, one goal. So I think the thing that we have over some other teams is fitness.
Yeah.
So we just try and run the shit out of teams and hope that we can get over the top of them.
So just outrun them to try to change
pretty
the momentum.
much. Like, it's physicality. Like, there's not much. When I say there's not much strategies and tactics in it, like, it's not like we're going to be trying to ice the clock. Like, we're not good enough or skilled enough to do those sort of things that the guys might do, like sending players back or having different sort of strategies. Like, it's literally just like run and gun half the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and it is all mental, and it might have to take to half time to get a spray from Coops or messages from the runner, but most of the time it's just like what we can do physically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. You see that, like, in that Melbourne game, Melbourne Bulldogs game in the grand final last year, like, when the momentum shifts, it just changes. Like, you couldn't even see it happening from, like, the runners or whatever it was, but when all the players are on the same page, they can just swing the game.
It's funny you should say that, because I've been doing my level 3 coaching course, and we've been
AFL coaching.
Yeah. And we've been I looked back at a webinar that I missed, and anyway, it was a lot of analysis of I think it was a Melbourne and Geelong game, but they have so many, and they're full-time athletes, and the coaches are, that's their full-time job to have all these scenarios and things like that. But the players are so across, like, every aspect of the game. Like, they had this list of what ifs, and I was like, what if Dangerfield takes a ruck, or what if we move Salem into the midfield from half back, things like that. And so they can, because the players are so drilled in those things, it literally can just happen like that. And like, oh, right, Dangerfield's in the ruck, so we're going to do this. And they can manipulate the game like that.
Yeah, okay.
But, for us, it's like you can't put too much information into it, because girls are naturally overthinkers, and it's just let us play.
Got to nail the basics.
Yeah.
You said, physicality is a big thing that you guys do, run and gun. Your tackling pressure as a side is nuts. Like, it is crazy. Seeing you in the midfield this year as well has been sick, because you've sort of adapted that into your game, going from the forward pocket. Or did you play forward pocket?
Yeah,
or
pretty much.
Forward?
It's just centre half forward.
Doesn't matter. You're in the midfield now.
Yeah, I'm in the midfield now.
Playing with Turbo and, like, Hayley Miller in the midfield, how has that been, learning from the best player in the competition and adapting that into your game?
So, yeah, I remember I was super nervous my first game against the Eagles, because I was like, shit, I don't want to disappoint Hayley and Turbo, because...
And me.
Yeah, and Drewzy, my number one fan. But no, they were, like, two of the best midfielders in the comp, and I was like, I'm a scrub that got told a week ago I was going to play in the midfield, and I haven't even trained here the whole pre-season.
So were you expecting to play in the forward line this year?
Yeah.
True.
So we did match them pretty early in pre-season, and they would chuck me in, but it was only like 8-minute quarters.
Yeah.
So one of the quarters I would go mid. But against the Eagles, I played quite a bit of it in the mid. Phil Seth hurt her ankle in that game, literally the last 2 minutes in the last quarter. And she was meant to be me in the midfield.
Yeah.
And so when she hurt herself, and we figured it was going to be a long stint on the sidelines, Trent told me the week before the Eagles game, hey, you're going to be mostly mid this game. So, that happened, and I did all right. And he's like, yeah, you're going to stay, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
But it is, like, I do miss the forward line, but it is a fickle position in that the forward line, that is, in that sometimes you just won't see the ball at all.
You can't work your way into games.
Nah, not at all. And I like a massive confidence player, so being at every single stoppage is like helped me massively, and things like the tackles, and you don't really care about the amount of touches, but you're just naturally around the ball. Yeah. So that's been super cool.
Yeah. I think your body type is sort of good for the midfield though. You're very type 2. Strong. Strong, powerful. Being in there, being a bit of a bull in there, you change your number to number 9, replicate Ben Cousins, be a rover, and
it's funny
get the
because
job
I
done.
changed my number before I knew I was playing midfield. They did tell me in my exit interview. They do one every year after the season, just wrap it up and tell you expectations for the following year. And they've said this every year, that you'll get a secondary position and you'll train a lot in there in pre-season and potentially play in it the next season. And they said to me, secondary position, we're going to focus on midfield for next year.
Yeah.
I said, wicked, cool. I've heard this for the past 5 years. It's probably not going to happen. But
has
just
that
in
always
case,
been your goal, though? Has it always been your goal to play in the midfield?
Well, funnily enough, I played my first ever game against Bulldogs in the midfield.
Okay.
But I was so unfit and my skills were terrible. So, like, I lasted a week and then I got, when I say relegated to the forward line, I just got pushed back to the forward line.
Yeah.
And anyway, so they said, yep, in the exit interview, going to probably play or train some mid next year. And I was like, yeah, right. But just in case, I'll change my number to number 9. I'll channel my inner Ben Cousins. And so I did that and actually did start, as I said, playing in the midfield during training. I guess it's always your goal because you think, like, everyone knows that the midfield's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it starts.
The mitochondria off the field.
Yeah, exactly right. Another big word from you, Drewzy.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I play next to Turbo and Hayley. Like I've said it in multiple interviews before, but they make you better and they like kind of piggyback you and drag you along. So being next to those two and seeing their work rate and just how they attack the footy, like it's rubbed off on me. And you always notice it from watching games or whatnot, but I'm literally right next to them, and it's awesome to now be a part of that group.
Yeah, you're just chasing their standards, I suppose. And when you're playing with what's the Brownlow equivalent?
They don't have a name for it yet, but I'm surely, well, she can't get it this year, unfortunately, but it actually, I reckon they might name it the Phillips medal because I think Erin Phillips must have won it twice.
Right.
And it's got a good ring to it. Yeah. But it's just the best and fairest.
Yeah, but when you're playing with her and training with her all the time, you're always trying to one-up her, I'd say. Like, you're trying to, learn off her, but at the same time, you're trying to be like, I want to get more tackles than you at training.
Yeah, I tackled her last night at training and I was buzzing for the rest of it. Like, you're never going to be, like, everyone has to be their own player and you're never going to be Turbo or Hayley or whatever. But if you can do something to positively impact the team, then that's what you're looking for. Or if you can learn something or do something that's more like Hayley or Turbo, then you're always going to become a better
replicate
player.
The traits that they have that are positive. How has the game changed for you going into the midfield? Like, how do you look at the game differently now compared to when you're in the forward line?
I feel like if you're in the forward line, a lot of it is relying on opportunity, and you have to almost make something out of nothing half the time, or you're relying on the ball coming into right where you are. But I think for the midfield, it's like I've struggled the past however many games because it's all work rate. Like, you got to get to the contest. You got to be clean. You got to create space somehow. Yeah. But like I said before, I love being near the ball, and it just gives me so much confidence to be either in the location of the ball or to have the ball. And so it's just made me, I don't know, a bit hungrier to get to a contest or to tackle a player. Yeah. And again, like I said before, I don't want to disappoint Hayley and Turbo, because copping a spray from them, I don't ever want one.
How's Hayley been stepping up into the captain's role this year? What's that been like, getting a change in the guard? Yeah,
so I've always called her, just on an on-field thing, I've always called her like the female Ben Cousins. Yeah. Because I've seen her dominate training sessions and, little snippets of it in games, and she hasn't been able to have, like a season like she has thus far. But I think Hayley thrives on that responsibility or whatever. And so taking over from Juddy, I think she's just tried to up her game to another level, and she's obviously worked really hard over the preseason to get super fit. And I'm super happy that she's playing the way she's playing. But she's also a great leader, and she's been in the leadership team for years. So
she's been leading by example. There's been a few players that have stood out to me. You're not one of them. You suck. No. Ebony Antonio has had a great season up forward. She's been kicking ridiculous goals for fun. And when you see someone that plays for Freo and has supported them for a long time, as Freo players should, Gabby, take note. It's just like you're living out my childhood dream, and like she's so passionate about it, and then plays the way she does with her heart on her sleeve. It's really good to see. I like it a lot. But what has this season been like? Obviously, COVID affected once again. You played, was it one game at home and then got shipped off over to Victoria?
Yeah, but we always knew that was going to happen. Like, we played that Derby round 1, our home game at Fremantle Oval, and then the following week went to, Melbourne for what was going to be a 3-week stint. First game against GWS, and I think we played the Tigers, Collingwood, Bulldogs, and then finished it off with North Melbourne. But, the thing was, like, 2021, we weren't aware that a hub situation may have happened, and that kind of disturbed the peace a bit, and that probably was the reason why our season didn't go to plan, because there's so much uncertainty. But we knew, and we kind of set up for the 3-week hub and invested all into it, and it was a bit tricky, especially when the borders closed and whatnot, and there was that bit of uncertainty. But I think we all just kind of like, screw it. We know we're going to be over here for 3 weeks. We may as well make the most of it. And that first game against GWS really set the tone for how the rest of the trip was going to go.
Yeah.
If we had lost that game, you know what it's like. We could have just gone down a slippery slope. But we won it. It was a good game, followed by another good game against Richmond.
That was a sick game. Yeah. That's my favourite game of the season.
Yeah,
that
was sick.
That was dope.
Did you see the first ball up?
No, I missed the very start. What happened?
That was a sick one. That was my favourite one because Mim hit it down my throat, and I like sidestepped someone. I probably kicked it to no one, but that's what you watch as a kid, like midfielders that just get it, rove off the rucks, tap, and then just
clean.
Yeah, and that was 50. That was my favourite. That's the individual thing. So we don't like them, but like
we do embrace individuality, not egos.
Yeah,
but yeah. So you went over there, got a few dubs.
Got one loss, but that's all right. That was a tricky one. Like, we were so like emotionally and mentally cooked, and physically as well. Just like from playing multiple games on short breaks. Turbo couldn't play because she was scrubbed out, unfortunately. And then I think everyone was probably thinking about getting home too much. And North Melbourne are good, and you can't have those lapses both mentally or physically. Yeah, because good teams will jump on you, and that's what happened. But thankfully, who did we play? Oh, Carlton on the weekend.
Who did we play?
No, it's literally blurred all.
What was the point of having anyone out there? They only kicked one goal in the first 5 minutes, and then you run them down.
I tell you what, though, I was a bit worried at the start there because Darcy Vesio kicked that absolute ripper on the left. So, yeah, I was a bit worried after that.
Yeah.
Got a few scoring shots.
Then it was sweet, smooth sailing. Got free tickets. Thank you very much for
that.
that.
No worries. Yeah, you're welcome.
No, it was a good game. Both the games I've been to. The Derby was sick, and then the
I love playing at Freo Oval as well because you literally
love it. You kissed the ground the other day.
I did.
You were getting quite a lot of stick for that. I respected it. To be fair.
I did it when we went over to Norwood Oval and Adelaide as well because we joked that myself and Laura Pugh, it was Valentine's Day the day we played. Yeah. So I was like, Norwood's my boyfriend. and then we thought we were going to be there for a bit longer. So I was like, better get to know Norwood a bit better, and kissing the grass was the best way to do that. But I was genuinely so happy to be back at Freo Oval. And I remember running out, and I was next to Tia Haynes, and she goes, "Oh, I've got goosebumps," like running onto the Oval with the home crowd, home deck. And I was like, geez, me too. Like, it was so great. And just seeing faces in the crowd that you knew, and just that whole vibe it brings to the Oval. There weren't heaps of people there, but there doesn't need to be. Like, everyone creates, and Freo fans are the best at that, creating noise. Yeah. And there was a lot of it, and I'm glad that we played a good game. Yeah, the second quarter was a bit of a stinker, but when you come out after half time, was just bang, bang, bang. Morrison kicked 3. The new girls that have come in, what have they brought that you haven't had in previous seasons? Like, Dana East is a beast. Dana the East, Beast East, whatever you want to call it. I call her Frizz now because she's got frizzy hair. She doesn't like it, but I think I'll go back to Eastie. No, but these girls are the girls that haven't had to give up footy. So they've got like a phenomenal IQ. They've had their couple of years in the Waffle Comp or state academies where they've basically been doing what we've been doing on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So they come into the team pretty much well acquainted with what they have to do. Phenomenal athletes and people. But yeah, Eastie adds that grunt, Tux adds that little zippiness.
She's a little U-Tux, I reckon. Got her own style, obviously.
She can only hope. Nah. She's been teaching me how to step and I can't do it. What? I told her dad that she's been teaching me how to, step.
Oh, like rugby? Yeah.
Yeah, she's a Kiwi and all that.
Yeah.
And I said to her dad, he was on the phone to Michaela and I grabbed the phone to say hi to him. And I go, oh, your daughter's been teaching me how to step. And he goes, Michaela? And I said, yeah. He goes, she doesn't even know how to do that herself. She 100% does though. If she picks up that ball cleanly and runs, no one's going to catch her. And Amy's, we joke that she's Buddy Franklin's niece or whatever. But she's got those great mitts and everyone that's come in, J-Lo as well, that endurance that she has, everyone that's come in has added something. Yeah. And they don't look out of place at all. Sometimes when you get the newbies coming in, you're like, oh, they're missing a bit of pace or size or skills, but they're all bloody great.
Just fitting in straight away. Yeah. The vibe's good. You've got a bye this week. By the time this comes out, it'll be after the Adelaide game. But you got Adelaide this week, top of the table clash. Yep. How's the vibe and the general consensus going into that game? Top of the table, let them bang.
Yeah, well, the good thing about this game, and it's probably what's gotten us in a few of the games against some of the lesser opponents, like probably Bulldogs, who we thought were probably a bit underdone and not as skilled or as good as us. You can get caught out with those lower sides. But we know Adelaide's a good side. Yeah. So everyone that plays us is always going to bring their best footy because they want to headhunt us. But we know Adelaide's going to bring their best footy and we know what to expect.
So you're not going to get that. You're not going to let your guard down and then they get the jump because you just got to be on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and Coop says that all the time, they've been dominant the whole AFLW competition. So it's in its 6th year. Adelaide's been in, maybe 3 or 4 of the grand finals. Yeah. And they've got the pick of the crop because they're the only team in South Australia. Yeah. So
it's a good vibe down at Freo Oval. Obviously the Dockers have been shifted to Coburn. Yeah. They're not training there anymore, but that's what Fremantle is. The Oval is in the heart of Freo. You walk out and you're in Freo.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do now, and they might have changed it with the latest COVID restrictions, but I believe the boys were training there once a week. And they were, Little Birdie told me that they were redoing some of the change rooms there. Okay. Specifically for us, because obviously that's going to be our home base for games, that is. But I think they're trying to bring Freo back to Freo, not full time or anything like that, but just
got to have that connection.
Yeah,
mate.
you do.
That's where the club spawned from. East Freo, South Freo. Putting 2
I'll tell you what though, and I don't know if you know this, I might have told you along the traps. So when we first started 6 years ago, Coburn wasn't built yet. Yeah. And I think we moved in there the March of that year, so 2017. Okay. But obviously we only had another month of the season left, so we weren't really there a lot at all. Yeah. We got there was no change room for us. They have this players lounge that's probably about the size of where we are, this bit and that bit out there. There was one toilet and it was a disabled toilet.
Jeez.
So literally girls, it was looked like a shit heap because the girls just chucked their bags wherever they wanted. If anyone needed to go to the toilet, you had to wait a half an hour. Yeah. It was so unprofessional. We didn't, we lifted after training, so there was 30 girls in a gym, literally again the same sort of size. Yeah. As this room here, but yeah, it was so unprofessional, and now there's so many more. The men's club, I feel sorry for them because they had to do that full time, those conditions. Yeah. But the facilities, the people, and every other sort of resource that you got available to you, you've got no excuse not to be elite.
For sure. And the coaches and stuff that you have as well, I've been lucky enough to work with some of them, the physio and the head trainer. I won't name names, but the coaches as well. You've got Jay Van Berlo in there, ex-AFL player, Georgia Haynes' dad, Danny Haynes. Yeah. So, we're going to go watch some field footy after this. Yep. But obviously Trent Cooper as well. You've got some proper top-notch professionals in there. What's it like having like the resources and the minds and the knowledge to elevate you to that next level?
No, it's great because I don't think Jay knew what he was getting himself into before he kind of signed up for it. But he's been able to, and we've had like Gary Kipperson last year and other cameos from the Freo boys and whatnot. But just to be able to draw on their experiences and just some fresh eyes and fresh voices. It's great, and like we're just learning heaps, and we're just soaking it up like a sponge. But yeah, again, the resources that we have, whether it's people or facilities and whatnot, they all drive us to be better athletes. And I don't know if you know much about our head strength and conditioning coach, Kate Starr.
No,
so she's a bloody hard ass.
Yeah, I'm
sure you'll get to meet her one day, but. She did it. She was in the AIS for hockey most of her like teenage years. Played for what's the female hockeyroos, or are they all called
Kookaburras?
Yeah, Kookaburras. Or I think that's. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, not sure.
Anyway, played hockey for Australia. Pretty sure she won gold medals and whatnot. So she's elite.
Yeah.
And old school where she'll just like push you to get the best out of you, which is what you want. When you got people like that and masterminds like Coops driving the team and driving the standards, like you're going to get results.
When did you sort of like realize that you need to be pushed? Like you need a bit of tough love, because being a coach, like when you sort of don't give the players what they want to hear sometimes, like especially youth athletes, they'll sort of like get pissed off at you and be like,
take it personally. Hey?
Yeah, but like we're not there to tick boxes and just be like, yep, I tried to do this. Like we are telling you the stuff, and if you listen to this, like you will go in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah.
So when did you sort of figure that out, and what advice could you give to players that sort of find it hard to take criticism? Because criticism at the end of the day is what makes you better as a player.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and I loved Ryan, our previous S&C coach, but I think it was implementing Kate and then Trent as well. Because at that point the comp was still fairly new, and there was obviously a history of injuries with the female players, so I don't think we'd quite been pushed to our, to the extreme.
Yeah.
And I think we're still kind of learning what our
capacity.
Yeah, capacity, exactly. Yeah. What our capacities are. And she has high standards. Coops has high standards, and I think people need to realise that if someone's giving you criticism or feedback or advice or whatever, they want the best for you.
Yeah.
They're not saying it because they don't like you as a person. They want the best for you. And I think if a coach is trying to give you that, then feel privileged, because if they didn't care about how you were as an athlete, then they wouldn't waste their breath on you.
Yeah.
So I think take that advice on board and make sure that you're actually doing something active about it. You're not just in one ear and out the other ear. Take it on board, because they know what's the best for you, and they want the best for you.
When did you sort of realise that? Have you always had that? Have you always sort of been able to use the resources that are available to you to become the best player? Because like the coaches are all there, as I just said, to make all the players better. And I realise that when I'm working with players, the players that ask me the most questions, that aren't going to stand at the back of the group when I'm talking and like not give a shit about what I have to say, the ones that are standing at the back will have less likely a chance to go far, give or take, compared to the people that are standing at the front. I notice that you always stand at the front of the team interviews.
But that's a different reason. Do you know that I don't, I joke about my hearing, like I can't hear very well out of one of my ears.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
I mean, I can, but I also love being at the front.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be at the back. Come on now. If you're at the back, you're obviously not listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love to be at the front, and that's my thing. One, because I can't hear. Two, because, No, but I think... So I was very young when I started playing senior sport. So I was probably about 15 or 16 when I started to mingle with the big girls in basketball, that was.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't contribute much to the conversation, but I could contribute on the court. So I was always trying to be the best athlete I could be from such a young age, that I think it just kind of was ingrained for me, like into me for such a long time, that when I came into the footy system, like I still had a ways to go, and I still think I do, but...
just constantly growing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said to you, I texted you, like, I think last month saying like, oh, I still got so many things I want to do in the off season.
Yeah.
Like this year, I think I wanted to slim down a little bit so I could run more, and I knew I might have been playing in the midfield, so I was like, I need to get on top of that, build my running capacity.
Yeah.
And I did, and I got PBs in the fitness testing and whatnot.
What was your 2K?
I think, so I was going to look it up before. I think it was 7:31 or something.
Yeah.
And
decent.
that for me, like so I still remember my first ever 2K I ran, and it was before preseason started, and I didn't know what a 2K was or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I never even heard of a strength and conditioning coach. But there was this bloke called Adam Wolski, and he was a strength and conditioning trainer at the West Coast Waves, which is now the Perth Lynx, and for Wace.
Okay.
And so anyway, he's the only person I knew. I thought he was actually the only strength and conditioning coach in WA. And he was like, they're going to get you to do a 2K. You should be getting around this time. And it was like 8:30 or something.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll be happy with. And I remember running one the next day, and I got like 9:30. And I texted him, and he must have been thinking, this girl has got no idea, hey. And then, I can't remember my first couple of 2Ks, but they wouldn't have been anywhere near that. Like, I think they would have hovered around 8:30, close to 9 minutes. And I remember one preseason I ran a 7:53, and I thought I was a god. And then just eventually, like, and it is a mental game as well, but eventually I've learn't how to push through that hurt and that burn to just keep that sort of pace and keep building. So, I was really pleased with that. But preseason was bloody hard. So if I didn't get a time like that, I would have been bitterly disappointed.
Yeah. I remember when you held up the board, when we were up in Dampier, it had KFC on it. It was keep it simple. Yeah. Have fun or something like that. Have fun. Yeah. But you kept emphasizing like disciplined, be disciplined and do the right thing.
What was the C? I can't remember the C. Anyway, sorry, be
communication
disciplined.
or something maybe. But when we went for that run up in Dampier, I remember like we finished our run and we were walking back and we were like, man, like I wanted to give up straight away into that. And then you just keep pushing past that. And I always say this to the footballers, when you hate what you're doing, that's when you're getting better. And if you do the things that you don't like doing like you love it, that's how you become elite. That's how you get to that next level. But has this been the toughest preseason for you then, pushing yourself to get into the midfield?
Yeah, I'd say so, especially because I feel like in the past preseasons I've been able to do sessions as a group, like run with other people or lift with other people, etc. So everything's with a group, so you got people holding you to account. But this preseason, like I think I was just busy with work, and so are other girls, so a lot of it was by myself, and it's really hard to push yourself by yourself, but you get better when you, as you said, when you're doing something you don't really want to do but you do it anyway. And I think I don't know, I think it's just if you've got goals and you've got standards, then it is a lot easier to want to push yourself and to actually do the work, because it is so easy. Like, as we said in Dampier, it was so hot. There was multiple factors where I could have been like, nah, stuff it. This could be my week off. But you got to do it, because it's not just, one run that defines you. It's the whole build up, and it's that discipline over a period of time. So I think, this preseason compared to previous ones, like, Freo told us already the standards they have, and I wanted to play. Like, I pride myself on having played every single game except for one where I got rubbed out for the club. And I knew that
longevity. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, and I knew that if I didn't hit those standards, I wouldn't play.
Yeah.
So fitness was one thing that I could just kind of tick off, and then if I wasn't going to get picked, I wanted it to be on my footy, not on my fitness.
Yes. Yeah. So, you can be the most skillful player in the world, but hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, mate. KD. Shout out to KD. Speaking of KD, basketball. You're a handy basketballer. You've alluded to it a bit.
I was a handy basketballer. No,
not anymore?
I still fancy myself a little bit, and I did actually want to play this year, but I think our footy season might be coming forward a little bit as far. That's the whispers anyway. But basketball is what I defaulted to when footy was out of the picture. So I think I started mucking around with the basketball when I was about 10. I started playing properly when I was about 12. And then progressed pretty quickly through juniors and then to senior basketball. And I think when I was 19, I moved to America, got a college scholarship.
So sick.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like the movies, but it like, again, and that's probably what helped me build some good, work rate and work habits, because the coach that I played for in my first year, she played for Alabama.
Okay.
So Alabama was like a massive D1 school, and she played in the like 90s or early 2000s when like basketball absolutely defined Alabama, I should say. And if she was a guy, she would have been playing in front of like 40,000 people, but obviously as a female, not as much, but still it was hectic over there, and she was a hard ass. I remember we lost a game that we probably should have won. And she calls a timeout with 30 seconds to go, and she goes, whatever we lose this game by is how many sprints we're doing straight after the game. Shake their hands, don't go to the change rooms, don't take your shoes off. There was this massive hill that was right next to the school.
Yeah.
So we're doing hill sprints. Starting 5 will be the first 5 to finish however many sprints we have to do.
Yeah.
So we lost by 13, and we had to do 13 hill sprints. She was the kind of coach that played the players, so she would hammer the same 7 players, and maybe your 3 freshmen or whatever wouldn't play. So the starting 5, like I had played, but I was like fitter than a few of the girls. So yeah, I was one of them, and then 4 other freshmen. So that was that was genuinely our starting 5 for the next game.
Yeah.
So just things like that, midnight workouts, 2-a-day workouts, 5 a.m. workouts.
That was all pushed on you by her?
Yeah.
Like midnight workouts?
Yeah,
Jesus.
absolutely. That only happened a couple times.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah,
I
it
like
was. No, it was good. And so another story was so they have this, I can't remember how many weeks it is, but they've got this rule where you can't be with your coach for a certain, like you can only be with your coach training with basketballs for a certain length of time for the year. So say it was, I don't know, the 20-week rule or 30-week rule. You can only be with your coach for that many weeks.
Yeah.
But she found a loophole in the system because we couldn't train with basketball. So she could be there for all the conditioning sessions, but she couldn't be there for any like scrimmages or basketball trainings. Right. So they got weighted basketballs.
Yeah,
not actual basketballs, they're weighted. So we had sessions, like full-on proper basketball sessions with these weighted basketballs.
Yeah.
And she would, so I can't remember how heavy they were, but I remember we had to do a layup drill. And layups are standard, like you do them with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, we got to get 25 in a row, or you need to hit 70 in 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And so anyway, obviously you're getting tired because you're running, but you've got this heavy basketball. And every single time we didn't hit the number, we'd do it again and again and again. And so like she wasn't happy. I always remember she was like, don't settle on being mediocre, because you can get so content and complacent that you just get happy being average. And that's like one thing I haven't wanted to do in my career. Like I was always just okay.
Yeah.
Like pretty mediocre, pretty average, just doing enough to keep my spot in the team. And it's funny now, like especially in the midfield, like I'm playing okay, but I'm still not satisfied.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I think because maybe the Eagles game was a bit different and I just felt good because I got way more of the ball than I had more of a positive impact than I probably have in my whole time playing. But you're just never satisfied with that performance. And it's
always trying to elevate.
Yeah, it's such a vicious circle though. You're never satisfied.
Yeah, that's why you got to sort of learn to enjoy the moment. Like, I don't know if you meditate or anything like that, but it just teaches you to sort of like not worry about what's coming or what's happened. Just enjoy like each game for what it is.
Yeah.
Obviously having that mindset is healthy because, it's not healthy, but it's good because you're always getting better. You're always asking more of yourself. Always trying to drive higher standards. But at the same time, like you beat yourself up over stuff that you probably shouldn't have. And then if you take a moment to look back at how far you've come, you're like, I'm doing pretty well for myself. Like I'm playing at the top level of AFLW. I've been playing college basketball, but I've always just been beating myself up, and you don't really have time to stop and smell the roses because, as you said, the moment you become complacent, there's someone snapping at your heels to take your spot.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. No, that's right. And like, I guess it's a good thing because I probably wouldn't have been in the system for the 6 years that I have been, if I wasn't driven and if I wasn't always wanting to get better. But yeah, you do have to stay present and not think too far forward or too far back.
Do you do much mindfulness stuff?
I was pretty big on it in 2020. And last year when I probably should have been with all the uncertainty going around, it's just something that like I didn't use, but this year I've gotten into it. So I'll do like 10 minutes of it before I get in my car to go to the game.
Okay.
I should be doing it more. Like I should be doing it every day.
You go to the beach every day. That's a perfect time to do it.
Okay, so I've been going to the beach and I just, like, you obviously can't be under the water for 10 minutes, but like I feel like I get the same feeling after that 10-minute mindfulness that I would do from when you like dive into the water and then come back up out of it. Like it's just the same sort of clarity and refreshing kind of feeling.
It's so stimulating. Like my friend Caden says, like when you're at the beach, all you can think about is being at the beach. You're not thinking about anything else. Yeah. Big fan of Leighton, aren't you?
Oh, I love Leighton. And the beaches in Melbourne, like, it wasn't it. Like, it was just, they were disgusting and you couldn't see the ground or whatever, and yucky water. Like,
WA's got the best coast.
Oh, 100%.
West coast, best coast, mate.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly. I thought you were trying to drop an Eagles.
No,
absolutely. You do feel great after that mindfulness or going to the beach or whatever you do to clear your head. And we started incorporating it. We've got 2 minutes before we go into our last team meeting with Trent for the minute before we run out. So we've got 2 minutes just to do some visualization. And I think, and like literally everyone jumps on board with it. Like you don't have to, no one's speaking to you or whatever. You just close your eyes and do some visualization. So we've started incorporating more into training. I would like to do more of it. I do write quite a bit. Yeah. So journal. I do. Yeah. So I try and use that a little bit because you can like get so frustrated with yourself or how you've trained or how you've played. But if you put it on paper, it's kind of like getting rid of it.
It's just a vent.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it pulls it out of a different part of your mind other than your thoughts. I always say you are not your thoughts, but being able to write something down I don't know, it just comes from a different place and it's just relaxing.
Or you can just like forget about it. Okay, that's off my chest now.
Yeah. 100%.
So I like doing that, but it's and Jay Van Berlo, he's one to say that he wish he found it earlier in his career because I think he might have been one of those people that just struggled with the present or whatnot. But it's a absolutely underrated tool, and it's getting it's getting recognised now, but I still think there's a long way to go in that space.
It's definitely a newish sort of thing, especially in the AFL. Like Phil Jackson, who's the coach, Kobe and MJ was like massive on it. Like he'd get breath work coaches in and stuff. Brisbane have just got a new like meditation coach and stuff like that. And when I see stuff like that, I think Brisbane are a good chance to win the flag now just after incorporating some mindfulness and whatnot. It's sort of seen as a woo-woo sort of thing. Like I was at uni yesterday and I was talking to this dude, like a proper top dog at the uni about meditation and different forms of it. And he just like sort of like brushed it off because it hasn't been researched and whatnot. But and I think so many footballers have that same, or not so many, I'm generalizing massively here, but if you said to a footballer, go meditate, you'll benefit from it. They'll just feel like, I'm not just going to lay down and breathe for a bit. Like, I'm just going to have my thoughts rushing around my head. But after you do it for a long period of time, you sort of start to get more perspective and stuff like that. I did a video the other day talking about breathing before a set shot just to, like, be in the present moment and not worry about all the external distractions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think mindfulness is a massive space that footballers could use to improve themselves, as you were saying.
Yeah, I think Chris Mayne's one of those. Is he retired now?
Yeah.
But he was very visible in taking that deep breath or whatnot to settle in before his set shot, and you only get 30 seconds to do that. So it's something that could be 5-second thing or a 10-minute thing, but. I don't know why it has that bit of a taboo to
stigma.
It. Because, exactly. Because it is so useful. I just think people translate that to being in touch with your feelings, and that's still not quite cool yet. But
it's the opposite, though. It's the coolest
100%.
thing.
If it helps you and it makes you a better player, and everyone knows sport is mental, then why are you not doing it?
The best clips of each Drewzy Yarn episode are posted on my TikTok @_Drewzy. If you don't have the time to watch a full episode, but you're scrolling through your phone, you might see me pop up on TikTok. So make sure you go follow that
@_Drewzy, and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Q&A segment, Gabby.
Great.
All right, we got some external questions. I'm going to start it off with one, if you know, you know. Could divide opinions here. It's from Bristow. He says, who do you prefer, Bristow or Furza? Again, if you know, you know.
Yeah, Furza.
Furza?
100%. Like, he's like my second dad. I saw him the other day. I hadn't seen him for however long. Gave me the biggest hug, and I was like, oh my God, I love him so much. But Bristow, I feel like we have like this, not love-hate, because I never hate him, but he's just so annoying. He's like your annoying big brother. Like big, tall, macho, redhead, bloody football player. And
Ugly, mutt looking.
yeah, exactly. He's such a menace to society, that man.
By the way, these are sport teachers that
Yes.
were my sport teachers and Gabby's work.
Colleagues.
Colleagues,
Now,
yeah.
Friends, I should say, but definitely Furza.
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm a Bristow man, personally. Yeah.
You must have had him for like ATAR
I did.
Yeah, okay.
He was a great teacher. He shaped the way I think about how I study a lot, actually,
Really?
to be fair. If he's listening to this, you did
Yeah,
you did me a
okay.
service.
He will listen.
He simplified learning for me. And at school, I found a lot of times like teachers would just, I don't know, fill you with so much crap that you don't need to read or
Yep.
like revise for the test. And then in PE studies, he'd just be like, all right, this is the syllabus. This is
Yeah.
what I'm going to quiz you on. And
Yeah,
away
he's
we went.
he's very good like that. He's just simplifies things and not doing the extras. But if you don't need to know something, like stop. We don't need to waste a breath on that.
Yeah.
Like stop overloading these kids. Like just tell them don't make it so vague. Make their learning easy. This is what they need to know, and this is what we're going to teach.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good like that.
He used to call out some kids as well on just like, I don't know, Gronk behaviour sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just like mucking around. Well, not even mucking around. Like you could have a laugh and whatnot in class. But like just some of the popular kids and stuff like that, he'd just challenge them. He'd just be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Not even in like a teacher's way, like arms crossed sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, mad respect to Bristow,
Yeah,
I
he's
reckon.
good lad.
Is Drewzy a huge plonker?
Yes, and I don't even know. I never even know what that means. That means just like a bit of a not a lad. Is that what that means? Or
I haven't even given the word a definition.
did you create that word?
Not really. It's
I know you
it's
use
in
it quite a
Pommy
lot.
lingo, as you'd say.
I'll have to Urban Dictionary that one after.
I'll get
but
that
yeah,
one
I
Urban
will
Dictionary.
I'll actually say yes. You are a huge plonker. I'm saying it in a good way though.
Yeah,
like-
so it can be used in a good way or a bad way. Like if someone's like pissing you off, what a plonker.
Yeah.
But like if someone's a jolly old fellow, he's a plonker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it up. You are such a plonker, Rodney. Using a sentence. Dope, idiot, moron, wally, pillock, dunderhead, dimwit is the definition.
But they all could likewise be positive things.
Yeah, but like anyway, plonker.
Yeah.
Another one from my friend Gabriel. Any match day rituals or superstitions?
Well, when I can now, I'll go to. I used to be actually really bad with routines and rituals and things like that, and not good ones either. Like one of my favorite point guards used to eat a Snickers bar before the game, so I was like, Snickers bar, and I don't even need that much energy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't for football. That was just basketball. But I'd try and go to the beach, just freshen up a bit. Kate likes us to do an activation, so I'll go for a bit of a jog, a bit of a walk, stretch, kick. And then shout out to my favourite cafe, Hubble's Yard. They do this meal called Mum's Eggs.
Yeah.
It's basically scrambled eggs, but with potato and chili.
Okay.
So in Melbourne, I was making that because obviously couldn't go out. But
Yeah.
and I'll make that at home as well as my like big brekkie. But
So just getting ready for the game, really.
basically just like fueling, hydrating, stretching, things like that.
Getting the body and mind ready.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
A question from Daniel Jenkin. How do you handle being so famous?
You know Jenko, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, of course you do. How do I? Oh yeah, look, Jenko, I'm struggling with it, mate. It's actually funny. Like I don't like. It's not famous. People just know who you are.
Yeah.
But I was at Nike the other day buying some shoes. I was waiting for the guy to get.
Because
my
you're sponsored
size.
and you're a superstar. That's why you're at Nike.
Yeah, I bloody wish these shoes were expensive. And anyway, these guy and girl walk in. They're like, "Hey, Gabby," and they were chatting to me as if they knew me. And that's the biggest thing. Like, so many people know you, but you don't necessarily know them.
Yeah.
And I hate when people are speaking to me, but I don't know who they are because I feel rude because I can't ask them about things in their personal life, but they know things, about you. So, you do have to be more mindful with what you're doing, what you're posting, because you know you're role modeling behaviours that.
For sure. Do you like that responsibility of a role model?
To be honest, I've always been like that. Like
Yeah.
I've never posted anything online or said anything like that's, promotes bad behaviour.
Yeah.
And I've always been very conscious of it. But it's cool, but it's also like sometimes I want I don't know, stupid little things like I wouldn't mind going to the shops in my pajamas or like barefoot. But I'm like, if someone sees me, they're gonna like, if they know who I am, they're gonna think I'm an absolute plonker.
So you swag up every time you go to the shops.
Of course I do.
You got to keep that swag.
I
image.
still go to the shops, my locals, in my pajamas. So really, nothing's changed.
So I finish every podcast off asking 2 questions.
Yep.
Same to every person. What advice would you give to yourself? Leaving high school is the first one. What could young Gabby have had advice in terms of going on to further life?
Oh, that's such a good question. I feel like I was so immature as well, leaving high school. Probably just like absolutely challenge yourself, put yourself in the deep end, go after all those, follow every opportunity that you want, and don't be scared of the outcome, because if you stay comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I had to get out of my comfort zone to actually grow. Like I was so shy before I moved to America because my twin sister did all the talking. But when I put myself in the deep end, that's when I was able to kind of grow.
So were you not doing that like as an athlete though? Like,
well, I was, but that was. The basketball court was my security. That was my home. But it was more like just even networking with people. Like if I was shy and didn't network with people, I wouldn't have got the job I've got now. I wouldn't have gone to East Fremantle football training, which led to me getting drafted by Freo.
Yeah.
There's so many. Yeah, I wouldn't have the friendships I have now, like coaching gigs, like, things like that. I wouldn't be doing that. So I threw myself in the deep end. Got outside my comfort zone and was able to grow and achieve things, but also like just the goal setting. Like I always had things I wanted to achieve, but that was just sport wise, like not life wise. And I think if you got no direction, then you can feel a sense of like helplessness or whatever, confusion. So set your goals. So cliche, but set your goals.
We like cliches.
We do. I love cliches. But just go after what you want.
We had a bloke on last week who was a bodybuilder, and he said if you're comfortable, you're doing something wrong, because you're going to wake up the next day being the same person that you were before, and you're never going to evolve as a person.
Jeez, sounds philosophical.
Yes. You're an English teacher.
Yeah, no, not anymore. So I can struggle with the big words now.
I can teach you some big words. I'm pretty good at my English. But when did you was it once you went to America that you sort of got chucked on the other side of the planet, that you could sort of redefine who you were as a person, like clean slate, this is who I'm going to be sort of thing? It
was sink or swim, like over there. Like if I didn't start talking, because I was like, love not having a chat, like just be by myself. If I didn't like to, have a chat, again, throw myself in the deep end away from family, like I would have lasted a year and then just come home and not have achieved anything. But that kind of opened my eyes to pretty much life, and then also, not being that shy, quiet person, like actually have a chat with someone, because it's going to make your life a lot easier when you've got people on your side. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So working alongside people and just opening the door to let people in, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was very close shop.
You wouldn't believe that, hey? Like you are the polar opposite these days.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the longest length of time you have gone in the last year without just not shutting up?
People say I can't even shut up for a minute, like I can't sit still. But it's obviously nice to have that quiet time by yourself. But you absolutely buzz after having a conversation with someone. Like it's hardly ever negative, but like when you're having a conversation with someone, like I love that connection. Yeah. And that's what I've said, and that's why I like coaching, and that's why I really love being the leadership team as well at Fremantle, because you get to create relationships and connections with people, and that obviously starts with a conversation. Yeah. If you don't talk, it's very hard to get close to someone.
Yeah. So that's what gets you ticking, human interaction.
I love that connectivity.
Yeah, you need it. We're social beings. You got to look at each other and help each other out and try to level each other up. Yeah. I like it. All right, last one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This one I'm interested in, because you're like, when I have interviewed people on the podcast in the past, they've been like, well, I want to be doing this as an athlete, or I want to be having this. Like you are in your sort of athletic prime now.
Yeah, I know.
So in 5 years' time, where do you see yourself?
So I'm 28. So, and it gives me hope that there's girls in my team that are into their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 years, if I'm not, like I'm hoping to still be playing football.
Yeah.
But that's a massive ask, especially with the kids coming through now. Like I've always said, and maybe it's because I wasn't playing any decent footy, but I've always said that I'll move aside for the young kids.
Yeah. You say
but
that.
But now I'm like, nah, screw it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like being an athlete has defined my whole life. And
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but it has. Like it's the reason why I've got what I've got today. But hopefully I've got a couple of premierships under my belt. But I honestly do want to get into the coaching side of things, and I would love to coach at AFLW level.
Sick.
I like, it's a big ask to be an AFLW coach in 5 years. Like that's not even on the radar for, potentially 10 years.
Yeah.
But I would love to slide from a playing career into a coaching career.
That's definitely achievable.
Oh, I think so too. Like I've got so much to learn, but that excites me heaps. But yeah, I think realistically, if I'm not done, I'll be close to being done playing wise.
How's your body holding up though? Pretty solid?
Touch wood, like pretty good. I feel like in previous seasons I've had a few niggles here and there, but I think, again, credit to strength and conditioning coaches and that, but I feel good and I've felt like I was prepared for the season. We're about the halfway mark now. Like, yeah, I'm feeling fresh. So I really can't complain. And I am in my athletic prime.
Yes.
And, going to the midfield's probably added some longevity to my career because I can always go back to the forward line.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I've always been scared before. I was like, usually players when they get old, if they've been playing in the midfield, they drop to the forward line, but the forward line guys have nowhere to go. And like forward line...
You're in the cemetery just about,
Pretty much. So now I can go... It's maybe bought me a couple more years. Midfield...
Half forward.
Yeah, half forward and maybe full forward.
And then forward pocket.
And then, bench and then out. So I could still be playing if I'm very lucky and things go my way and if I want to, if I'm still enjoying it. But if not, hopefully I'm coaching, assistant coaching or helping out aside.
That's definitely achievable with the network links that you have and doing your AFL coaching stuff. You said before that like you have been defined by being an athlete. Is there any negatives to that? Because from an outside perspective, and like every kid that watches footy, they want to be that. And like I've been exposed to all different people from different walks of life and whatnot. And it's safe to say like the way that you live your life is like A1 in my eyes. So what are the positives and negatives that come with that?
It's good because like obviously as you said, everyone aspires, or people that aspire to go far in their football aspire to be at that top level, which I'm at right now, and it's great because I'm living out the dream. But I guess it's like when you don't have that life anymore and you lose that sort of identity, and people get very especially the male players who get drafted at 18, and if they have a long career, like what do I do? I'm 30 odd years old and all I've got is my footy career that I can't do
Come
anymore.
out of high school and then 20 years later you're like, what's going on?
Exactly. And that's why I'm so fortunate that I've obviously got my teaching career and potentially a coaching career, because it's, I've always got something and other identities I can lean on. But it's good as well because, young kids look up to you, and I think I lead a good life that can be that I role model well. So, it's a positive thing. But negative is like, there's no escaping it. Like if you're still in it, and sometimes you get tired of it and whatever, but you know that you've kind of invested so much time into it. You just got to see the worth. But sometimes, especially if things aren't going right, like we've had a few seasons which have been pretty bad. You don't want to define yourself by being a football player for Freo.
Yeah, okay. That's just the ebbs and flows of consciousness, mate. Like having that like, is this for me? Is this for me? And then you're out kissing Freo ovals next
then
week.
you're out kissing Freo ovals. Exactly right.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to end it, Gabby.
Beautiful.
So you've smashed it. Hopefully we can see you with a premiership medal around your neck by the end of
thanks, Drewzy.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. If there's anything you'd like to say to the camera to sign off.
All I'll say is double good on ya.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving me your time.
Drewzy.
We're going to go watch some Footy.
Yep. Anytime, mate.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.
See
Take
you
care.
later.